I've stopped beating myself up over it now that I had until I pulled it out just now and started touching it and talking about it. Hello and welcome once again to M Cubed. I am Brian, otherwise known as the Motley Mix Merchant. Thank you very much for dropping by. If it's the first time you've been here, here's the spiel. I am a Canadian eBay reseller. I pick up 95 to 99% of my items at auctions now, both live and online, and I turn them around and flip them for a little bit of profit on eBay. I also pick up the odd item here and there at thrift stores, but with the ever-increasing prices at thrift stores, it is becoming few and far between that I make the trips, and mostly what I'm getting there are plushes. But we'll talk about those in another episode because I'm doing very well with my plushes. But today is going to be a combination of what sold on eBay in the last week and a look at some of the items I got at my auction that I went to this past Thursday. It's been a good month so far. If you're here for the halfway through February what sold episode, which is the last episode, you know that I was well ahead of pace. Well, I have already, for the first time in the 10 months that I've been doing this, sold on average one item per day. With today's 6 items that I'll be telling you about, I have sold 30 items already in the month of February. Still 3 days left, so maybe I'll surpass that in the next couple of days, but first time in 10 months that I've been able to average one sold item per day. And the great thing is that the average sales price and the average profit on those 30 items is a little bit higher than usual because of the type of items that I'm selling now and the prices that I'm getting for them. So it's been a pretty good month of February. The winter doldrums did not set in, and actually it's been a pretty good month, and I'm happy with the way things are heading when it comes to the overall direction of the eBay store for the Motley Mix Merchant. So let's start it off with what sold. Now, a couple of the what solds are actually some of the auction haul because they've already sold since last Thursday. So I'll mention those when I get to them. But let's begin with an item that sold, about 45 minutes ago as I was getting ready to do this episode. It's a lot of 6 mini ceramic horses made in Japan, probably from the 70s, maybe a little earlier. I took it best offer. This one went back and forth, got a low ball, and I bumped them up a little bit. Finally took $15. I've had them in my store and on my shelf for probably 7-8 months now. So I took $15 on a best offer plus $6 towards the shipping. It only cost me $1, and they've been on my shelf for a while, so it was good to get them moving, something to sell, and off they went to California. And that's why I kept bumping them up, because if it ends up being over £1, I have to ship them all the way to California. So I'm hoping, I weighed the horses, they only weigh about 4.5 ounces. So when you add in the packing material and the box, I'm hoping that it's going to be just under £1, because that'll be half as much for the shipping cost, first class to California. Up next, 2 items in a row, which surprised me a little bit, but you know what? It doesn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me anymore what sells on eBay, because anything sells on eBay at some point or another. First off is another Norman Why do I have so much trouble saying that? Norman Rockwell plate. There you go. A collector's plate. If you follow the channel at all or a subscriber, which you, by the way, can subscribe below if you want to follow along on the entire journey. Hint, hint. You know that I picked up 10 plates at auction last October, I think it was, for a grand total of $1. They just wanted them gone. And it was even in the main auction, which they usually don't drop the starting price below $5, but they said, just somebody for $1, somebody take them, just get rid of them. So I took them for $1. I've already sold, I think it was 2 weeks ago or so, I sold a lot of 3 of them for $29. This one sold for $13 plus another $10 towards the shipping, and that completely covered the shipping cost. And so, you know, the cost to me, 10 cents on this plate. So good, $10 profit plus $11 profit. And that was good. And I've still got 6 more to go. 6 more for sale. There's a lot of 3 and 3 other individual plates. So, you know what? They may sit there for a little while, but with 10 cents invested in them, I don't really care. They can sit there for as long as they want. And then, I mean, within 45 minutes of each other was the Rockwell plate and then another collector's plate. This one is a Nori Peter collector plate. It is by Kaiser of West Germany. This one goes back a little ways, but it's of a Inuit father and son is the subject of the plate. And this one sold for full asking price of $25 plus $10 towards the shipping. And again, exactly the right cost for the shipping. Cost me $9.83 or something like that. So very happy that I put that price on it. And that was a good sale. That one was, again, in a box lot sale, but I've had it for a while, 6 months or so, maybe more. And so cost to me was maybe $1 at the most, depending how many items I got out of that box. So that's a pretty good profit. That's probably good $20 profit on that Kaiser West Germany collector's plate. So very, very happy with that sale. Up next is the first of two items, which would have been part of the auction haul portion of this video, but they sold in less than 24 hours. This one is a hand-painted brass serving tray, made in India. Very nice with a peacock on it and red colors and green colors. Took a best offer because, you know what, I just want to start moving things. I really want to get some sales going, build up the store, get things flowing through the store. So I had listed it for $21, took a best offer of $17 plus $6 towards the shipping for a total of $23, and it cost me $7.85 to ship, something like that. So I still made a good $10 to $12 profit on this item. And again, it sold in about 24 hours. I listed it on Friday, I think, and it sold on Saturday. So quick turnaround is good, and I'll take the price that I got for it, and it's on its way to its new owner. Up next is something I got in my first time I went to the auction house here in St. Catharines, the one that was new to me just this past year that I've been to a few times since. It was a new old stock, brand new in the box, old Thompson salt and pepper grinder set. Cute little set, and it goes back a ways, probably the 80s at least, if not even earlier, but it was brand new in the box still. Had never been opened, still had the instruction piece of paper on the inside as well. Sold that for a full $25 plus $10 free shipping. This one was free shipping, but it was a small box. I just wrapped it in another piece of cardboard with some bubble wrap around it as well, and it cost me $8 to ship. So still a good cost to me on that was 10 cents, because that was on, I remember now, that was on one of the tables that I purchased for $5 when I purchased 4 tables for $10 total, so it was about $2.50 per the whole table, and this was one of the items on one of those tables, so maybe 50 cents cost to me. Even after shipping, it's still a good $10 to $12 profit on an old set of salt and pepper grinders, so that was pretty cool as well. And this last item now on the What Sold segment is another one from the auction last Thursday, and it's interesting because a little bit of the story is that I have seen the pictures of these in the preview online for my auction house, and I was very interested, and I researched and saw that they were going for a pretty good price when you had the whole set. There's a set of 4 of these. So I went to the auction and there was a whole bunch of stuff. Now I'll show you what it is first. It is this set of 4 Joe Montana. It's called Ticket to Glory. It's a rectangular plate with reproduction of Super Bowl tickets. The 4 Super Bowls that Joe Montana was in with the San Francisco 49ers. Now that's the entire set. There's 4 of them. One of them was brand new in the box. The other 3 had no boxes. But I saw that they were selling for a fairly good price when you had the entire set. Now, the auction house had a lot of Joe Montana stuff. Whatever clean out they did, this person was a Joe Montana freak because they had everything. Pictures of him as a boy, like mounted and framed, and all kinds of Joe Montana stuff. So one lady in particular kept getting all the stuff at the box lot table. But then the plates came up, and they put them on the box lot table. So again, with the box lots at this auction house in Niagara Falls, you bid a certain price, and then you get as many of the items that you want on the table for that price. Well, they put these 4 plates on the table, and the bidding started. And she'd been getting the other Joe Montana stuff for $3, $4, $5. Well, I started bidding against her, and I think it shocked her a little bit because we went at it for a while. And truthfully, those plates cost me $20 Canadian, which is about $16 US. However, I knew how much they went for on eBay. So I picked them up. I won the auction at $20. She didn't go above $20. I got them for $20. I turned around and listed them on Friday for $95 US with another $10 towards the shipping. I received a best offer less than 24 hours later of $80 US. And I decided to take it because, as I said, I want to just get things moving through the store. And I want to do some quick turnarounds and make a little bit of profit. Well, I made a pretty good profit on this. $16 US to $80 US. And they did only cost about $13 for the shipping. So, when all is said and done, in less than 24 hours of having them in my possession, I made a good $55 to $60 profit on those 4 Joe Montana collector plates. That's pretty good. I could do that 10 times a month and be very, very happy. So I thought that was a really good indication of how I should be approaching some things now, trying to get slightly larger cost items to turn them around for bigger profit. And I've mentioned that before. Since the new year, that's what I've been trying to focus on. And you know what? It worked. It was a really good flip, really quick flip, and a really good profit margin. $60 for 24 hours worth of work, and not even work. It was fun because I'm having so much fun with this thrifting and the sourcing and the investigating and the researching when I do find things online. And that's the fun part of it. And so that 6 sales in the last week since I saw you last has put me over the top for 1 item per day for the entire month of February. Yes, February is a short month, I know, but I've already sold 30 items, so that covers most of the other months. And so I have made 1 sale per day. The first time I've met my goal. Now I've got 4 days left today and 3 more days. So let's see if I can blow that out of the water and really set my bar high for next month when things get really moving again in March and April. All right, so that's what sold. I'm going to fold that down because it's probably going to fall in a second anyhow. My notepad there, my cheat sheet, because I don't have the memory to remember all that at once. So that's what sold. Now back to the auction that I've already talked about a couple of times because of the 2 things that sold already. It's the auction house in Niagara Falls, my friends at RT Auction, who always take good care of me. I'm a former co-worker with one of the owners, and I work with the other owner's husband still. So I know them very well. And, I hadn't been there for a while. I've been picking up the big, huge table lots at the other auction house here in St. Catharines that I go to. So I didn't really need to go to the Niagara Falls auction very often. But I saw a couple things on the online previews, and I decided to go and take a look, and I was very good. I told you in the video last week that I was going to sit on my hands and be careful. Well, I was very, very careful. I was very, very good, except for the very end. And I will talk about that in a second. But first, let me show you a few more things that I got. So I got the Joe Montana plates that sold. I got the brass plate that sold already. And I got this. This was with the brass plate. That's right. They held this up at the box lots as a pair with the brass plates without blinding you there. That's a cute little plate. That's a salad plate. It is a Royal Albert salad plate with the Jubilee Rose design on it. So the brass tray and this cost me $2 combined, so $1 each. And I think this one's going to sell in the $15 range probably. So I'll get a little bit of profit out of that. Not too much, but I'll make sure they pay for the shipping because that's the way we do it now. Got this as well. This was on a tray or in a box. I can't remember what else was on this tray, but it's a Funko Pop. Funko Pops are definitely not as big as they used to be. They're going for super, super cheap. But you know what? I got this for the equivalent of probably 50 cents. And I think it's going to sell for in the $10 to $12 range. It is Newt Scamander from Fantastic Beasts. You can see there. Again, new in the box. I've taken it out just for photographing it. And it has definitely never been out of the box. It's never been out of the plastic holder that's in the inside there. So, yeah, it's in good shape. A little bit of a dent on the top of the box there, but not bad. Not bad at all. Then I got a couple of these. There's 2 of these. It is, boy, that's overexposed today. Sorry about the brightness. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to click on something right now and see if that changes it a little bit. I don't think it will, but we'll see. Anyhow, it is a beautiful, wow, you can barely see it, Brian. There it is. It is a Myatt and Sons of England serving dish. It's It's got the lid with the beautiful floral design on the inside. There's two of them. I got two of them for, I want to say $4 in the box lot section. So they'll sell as a pair for probably $20 to $25 plus shipping. So, I'll make a little bit of profit on it. But with the Montana plates and the India brass tray, I've already more than paid for everything I bought at the auction. So anything I sell now, from the Funko Pop to the plates to whatever, is just going to be profit. So, I didn't get much. I sat in my hands. I resisted a few times, keeping my hands down and not bidding on some smaller things because I just didn't have the room or the need to get them right now. But then it got towards the end of the auction. And I always say that I do this channel and I go through my solds and my auction hauls to show you my successes and my failures. Well, I failed. I failed myself, and I failed when it comes to thrifting and auction researching. It was getting towards the end of the auction, and I had seen this item on a shelf inside one of the cabinets that they had for pre-sale, and they caught my eye. I looked at the back. I saw the name on the back, and I saw something else on the back, but I didn't look at it closely enough. And so towards the end of the auction, in the last half hour or so, they asked if there's anything specific you want to bid on. Well, I decided to bid specifically on these items. And I got bid up a little bit. Ended up, there was 3 lots. There is a group of 3 and 2 single items, each considered a lot. So I got bid up to $11 per lot, and I bought them all. So it cost me $33. I know. I don't spend $33 at an entire auction sometimes, but I lost my mind a little bit. And especially when somebody started bidding against me, I thought, okay, I'm right. This is what I think it is, and it's worth some money, and I better keep going for it because I know how much they're worth. Well, here's what they are. I know I've been leading in, sorry. But here's what it is. It is this kind of Moriage type plate. On the back, hopefully you can see this, it says Satsuma. But I didn't look closely enough at the stamp. This is Satsuma, made in China. It is a reproduction of the more famous Satsuma Japan pottery. When I got it home and took a closer look at it, I realized my mistake. This is a reproduction. I really was upset when I realized what I had done, that I had overpaid for this, and that I'm going to be lucky to maybe get 1.5 times my money back, because these don't sell very well on eBay at all. I may even try to sell them locally just for cost, just to try and get rid of them. So I got 3 plates exactly like this with the geisha scene. There is a larger tray with the same geisha scene with a little bit of a different color scheme. Then there is another tray with an entirely different painting on it. So the 2 trays were the 2 separate lots, and the 3 plates were together. So again, I paid $33. And as I say, the ones from Japan, they could sell upwards of $200 a piece. These ones sell for about $20 a piece, if they sell at all. There's a very low sell-through rate and very little online and very little action when it comes to Satsuma China from China. So, lesson learned. I don't know what happened. I've been trying to figure it out. It's really been bothering me. I think you can tell even right now. It's been bothering me a lot that I paid that price for these items without doing a full research on them. But you know what? You live and you learn. And that's why I do this channel. So hopefully I can pass on my failures to you, so you live and learn from my mistakes. But I've stopped beating myself up over it now that but I had until I pulled it out just now and started touching it and talking about it. It's okay. I'll get by because, as I said, my entire auction was $97. So minus the $33 for those plates, I only spent about $60 and change, plus taxes and stuff like that. And I've already made $97 back on the plates and the brass tray. So I'm good. I've paid for my mistake already. It's covered. Now I just need to try and get rid of them so that they're not sitting on my shelf for the next year or two, however long I'm going to be doing this. So, but as I say, you live and you learn. I had fun at the auction. Thank you very much to Tracy and Robin and everybody at RT Auctions in the Falls. It was good to see you guys again because I hadn't been there for a while because of my other pickups. But, we carry on. And it's gotten to the point now where I'm now finding I have a lot of stuff to list from previous auctions, stuff that's been sitting around in my shelves that I forgot about and that kind of thing. So I am once again barred from the auctions. I am not going to be doing any online auctioning. I'm not going to be doing any in-person auctioning until almost every last item that I have in my possession is listed. And that's a good thing, I think, because I really do attribute my increase in sales in February to consistently listing at least 3 items per day. I've only missed one day for the entire month of February where I have not listed at least 3 items. And it's been reflected in my sales. And, they talk about the algorithm, and I think it's real. It definitely is real. That if you list consistently every day, your store and your items get preferential treatment by eBay's algorithm, and you will get views and you will get the sales. Stuff that's been sitting in my store for 6-7 months is all of a sudden flying off the shelves. And so I'm going to keep up with the listing. There's going to be a few of these What's Sold on eBay episodes coming up in the next month because there won't be any more thrifting episodes because I'm pretty much barring myself from going thrifting or going to an auction or buying anything on an online auction until the end of March. So we'll see how it goes for the next 30 days as I keep listing things and clearing off my shelves of items that I have not listed or maybe need to be rephotographed and relisted, that kind of thing, to see if they sell. But you know what? You do what you have to do to make sales and to clean up the shelves a little bit. Get rid of some of the stuff that's been sitting there for a little while. Yes, my other half will be very happy if I can sort things out and clean things up a little bit. And I do have to spend some hard time doing some organizing, and that's in the cards for the next week or so as well. All right, so that's enough. That's what's sold. That's what I got at auction. That was my mistake at the auction. Please learn from my mistake. Make sure you research your items before you buy them. Research them well. Make sure you know what name you're getting and if it's the right name and coming from the right place. Anyhow, I wish you all the best with your selling and your thrifting and your auctioning over the next 30 days. I'm not disappearing. I will be on here. I've got other things to talk about. So I've thought of a few more episodes that I can do. One of the episodes coming up, I'm going to compare the cost of Canada Post shipping versus the U.S. Postal Service shipping. I've already crunched the numbers on a couple of items. And if you are a viewer or a subscriber from the United States, you'll never complain about the U.S. Postal Service for the rest of your life when you see the price comparison between what you get to pay and what we have to pay up here in Canada. That's coming up in a very soon future episode. All right. Have yourself a great weekend. Keep on with the thrifting and the selling, and I will see you again very soon, right here on another episode of M Cubed. Cheers, everybody.